never heard of a killer. I drop bombs like Hiroshima.
So I said, look at LeakYou video. What the fuck is LeakYou? Is it like a site? What's LeakYou? LeakYou. Is it a YouTube channel? Oh shit. Oh, all right, bet. Here we go.
Please hit the like. Thank you.
One, two, three, four.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I hope you all are having a fantastic Tuesday. Oh, coming through to talk about a few things. And I'd like to start, okay, I'd like to start with the UnitedHealthcare situation. Before I get into the drones situation, which seems to be still ongoing, right? But listen, we all know, all right, that Luigi Mangione, if I've said that correctly, has been arrested and charged for the murder of UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Shot him point blank in the back. Very much so. A planned hit, so to speak. But man, I'm about to say some things, and this is my freedom of speech to say these things. Now, I don't condone murder at all. I don't condone the killing of anyone. The only thing I'm going to say is, did these healthcare companies not think that this was going to happen eventually? Let's talk about UnitedHealthcare, shall we? Let's talk about UHC, which is one of the worst insurance companies in this nation. Okay. I've had UnitedHealthcare insurance before, and I have my own personal horror story. Let me tell you about UnitedHealthcare. Now, again, Luigi is actually being praised online. And on top of the fact that he's a pretty handsome guy, that seems to be playing in his favor as well in regards to the empathy and sympathy that others are feeling towards him. When I tell you the memes are insane. I seen one post, and it was actually, I believe, under UnitedHealthcare's, like a Facebook post, I believe. Over 55,000 comments. Or no, it was like 65,000 comments, and like 55,000 comments were essentially memes, jokes, people praising this man for murdering Brian Thompson. Brian Thompson had a wife, he had children. All right. But he also was a very rich man who worked for a company that has a very well-known reputation of denying claims. You see, insurance companies, they're not here to really help you. They claim they are, but no, they're in it to make a profit. And that is just the truth. They're in it to make a profit. Now, I don't think it takes a rocket scientist to figure out. I think we knew days ago that it was probably something related to that, something related to someone who was trying to get some care, couldn't get the type of health care that they needed, or someone, may have died trying to get the health care that they needed and wasn't able to, and a family member may have, did something. That was kind of my line of thinking, right? But now we know that Luigi actually had a very severe back injury. He was surfing in Honolulu and he had a very, very bad accident. And we don't know all the details behind what he went through with United Healthcare, but I can only imagine. And I've got a little story I'm about to tell you of something that I went through with United Healthcare for over 9 months. I'll never forget it. I've never went through anything like that before and haven't went through anything like that since. Well, hold that thought. Okay, now, again, internet comments are completely trashing United Healthcare, even today, ever since this happened. And, while they're mourning the death of their chief executive, Brian Thompson, he was shot just before an investor conference where the company was going to reveal plans for greater profits next year. Okay. Police wouldn't, are still not really speculating on the motive. But he was shot at least 3 times at close range on a Manhattan sidewalk. But, we all knew that it was highly likely his murder was related to his job at United Healthcare and its reputation for denying care. Okay. And the bullet casings he was shot with had words on them like deny, delay. So it was pretty obvious. United Healthcare is a for-profit company. But unfortunately, some of these newspapers are still trying to say that it's not proven whether it's really, if they're more aggressive than other insurers at denying care or simply that it draws more attention as the nation's largest health insurer. No, they deny care. Let me tell you a story about United Healthcare. About 10 years ago, 10, 11 years or so ago, my ex-husband needed back surgery, right? I won't go into the details, but he needed back surgery. His back was in bad shape, bone on bone type thing, He needed cadaver bone put into his spine. He needed a major fusion surgery. It's very much so a major surgery. You'll be in the hospital for about a week after. It's major stuff, right? They open you up from the front and the back. And he needed that surgery. And that surgery is a very expensive surgery. And I watched the man for years walk, bent over at times because he couldn't even stand up straight. And he did a lot of hard concrete related work over the years, right? Slinging sledgehammers and laying concrete, did a lot of that type of hard back-breaking work. But then, it's just so painful, right? You can only go to the doctor so much for pain medicine. He goes and sees a specialist, a very good back doctor, I may add. Richard Marks, actually, is that doctor's name in Dallas. Very famous doctor. He treats the Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys. And the doctor was very adamant based on all of the scans that he needed a fusion of two or three of his, spinal column, right? Listen, I'm not a doctor, okay? But he needed them to be fused together. They needed to be fused together. Our insurer at the time, UnitedHealthcare. So the doctor submits all the paperwork. UnitedHealthcare comes back and they deny it. The doctor resubmit. And the way that they denied it, it's like, oh, you didn't submit this, you didn't submit that. And the doctor's like, no, I definitely gave them all the necessary information. But we go through this all the time, mostly with UnitedHealthcare. Specifically, okay? So the doctor resubmits all of the necessary paperwork and then backs it up with more subsequent evidence that, yes, this surgery is absolutely required. This man needs this surgery. And you're his insurer. And that's what the fuck you pay insurance for, right? Isn't that what we pay for, insurance? They bank on the fact that not everyone is going to use it. But that's not enough for them. Because then they start denying valid claims because, boy, they love those bonuses that go in their pockets. Them executives get fat bonuses, $1 million bonuses that some of us will never see in our lifetime. We'll never see that much money in our lifetime. They'll just get it just as their bonus. Anyway, they denied it again. So then we had to go through an appeal process. We had to appeal to UnitedHealthcare and provide all of this documentation. I mean, guys, it was really ridiculous what they wanted us to do. It was so ridiculous. And it was so obvious that he needed the surgery. Like, it was just beyond obvious. You could see it in his scans and everything. But, they wanted us to appeal, and we had to appeal, obviously. Obviously, we don't have $700,000-$800,000, to do this surgery, and shouldn't even have to come up with that. I mean, we've been paying you how many years? I mean, Anyway, we go through all of that, and what does UnitedHealthcare do? They fucking deny it for the final time and tell us there's nothing else more they can do. And talk about infuriating. Infuriating. And it's not like you can just go to another health insurance company unless you switch jobs or whatnot. And even if you do that, they're going to call it a pre-existing condition. So, I mean, you're really in a fucked up position. But there was one more thing that I could do. There was one more thing that we could do. We had to write an appeal letter to our state insurance board. And you have to do this stuff within like a certain matter of days. I mean, don't miss those days. Account for the time that's going to be in the mail, all that. But we had to appeal to the state insurance board, the state of Texas. to review our claim and to either allow it to stay denied or to overturn that appeal or to overturn that denial. And within like 2 weeks, they overturned that denial, and UnitedHealthcare was forced to pay for that surgery. It took 9 months. UnitedHealthcare was not going to pay that claim willingly. They had to be forced. There's not many that are going to appeal a claim, first off. And then there's not many that are going to take it to the point where they're going to appeal it to their insurance board for their state. That's another problem. So, people just kind of fall off. And that's how UnitedHealthcare has gotten away all these years with their bullshit. And then after the murder of the CEO, one of their executives made a statement basically saying in the statement, which was so inappropriate, that they're going to continue to deny and only pay for claims that are, that need to be paid for. No. UnitedHealthcare, just go look them up online and look at the reviews on all the various different websites that discuss or talk about how UnitedHealthcare denies claims. They are definitely the worst offender. And you don't find this stuff out until after you need, a claim to be, performed or approved or whatnot. You don't really find this stuff out till you really need it. And that was kind of what happened with us. But 9 months. Ridiculous. So that's why, and I'm thinking about this accident Luigi had where he had screws in his back, all kinds of stuff. He was probably in a lot of pain. And pain will drive a man crazy and will make a man want vengeance, especially UnitedHealthcare is the richest insurance company, you all. They are the largest and richest insurance company. But again, they will deny claims. They will deny claims that are so obvious that they should approve. They do it all the time. There are people that work there. Their only job is to deny claims. Period. So, with all that being said, there's your answer as to why people have the certain reactions that they have. It's like, just because someone dies, okay? Just because someone dies, whether it's natural, murder, suicide, whatever it may be, just because someone passes away, it doesn't stop what they represented when they were alive. You remember the man, the YouTuber, God, what was his name? He was Kevin. He used to wear those suits all the time and talk a lot of shit to Kevin Samuels, I believe was his name. And Kevin Samuels was an asshole. Okay. He used to talk a lot of shit to women, and I just could not relate to some of the thoughts of women, and all his talk about high value men and all this type of shit. Well, when he died of a heart attack, the memes came rolling in that day, that night when it happened, within the hour. Again, don't expect sympathy and empathy and people to mourn you when you die. They're going to treat you the way that you treated them. And that's just the God honest truth about it. And Brian Thompson represented UnitedHealthcare. Again, he was headed into an investor conference on how they could have even better profits for the next fiscal year. They're going to deny more claims, basically. Okay? It's ridiculous. So, do insurance company CEOs have something to worry about? Absolutely, they do. I think at this point, the ultimate has happened, right? Again, I don't condone murder of anyone. I think it's awful that Brian Thompson is no longer here with us. But there's always a rhyme and a reason to something, regardless of how one may feel about that reason. And again, did you all not think this was going to eventually happen? And I don't think it's just CEOs that need to be concerned. I think that the people that just work at these companies need to be very concerned about their security. When they're leaving, they're coming home. Anybody putting their names on these paperworks, denying these claims. I mean, these people are not playing with you guys. And this, it's hard. I don't condone the murder of anyone. Some murders just hit different than others, if you get what I mean. It's almost like, let's say, like the mother in Australia who murdered the guy that raped and killed her daughter. Murdered him right there in the courtroom. Yeah, she went to jail for doing it. But how could you blame her? Right? Now, I'm not saying that in this case with Luigi and Brian Thompson, but I'm making the, just the statement or an example of how each murder is just different. Okay? It just is. And so that is that's kind of what's going on right now with UnitedHealthcare. Don't get it twisted. They deny more claims than any insurer. They have faced so much public scrutiny. They've even faced congressional inquiries in regards to its denials of care, especially to elderly patients. Okay? Matter of fact, last October, there was a report that was dropped by the U.S. Senate subcommittee that scolded UnitedHealthcare for denying prior authorization requests for expensive post-acute care at 3 times the rate that it denied other requests. By the way, they rely on a claims process that they say that is supported by AI, artificial intelligence. Can you believe that shit? That had a 90% error rate in determining whether a requested treatment was medically necessary. And that's what they kept saying when they kept denying my ex. It's not medically necessary. It's not medically necessary. We've got former VPs that have turned into whistleblowers that have talked about how bad UnitedHealthcare is. It's been bad for years. Okay. Like I said, the incident that I had was over 10 years ago. So yeah, it is what it is, rest in heaven. Brian Thompson is all I can say. But I bet you if he wasn't, the CEO of UnitedHealthcare, I bet you he'd be alive right now. UnitedHealthcare, y'all got to change your ways. You have to. Your actions have led. You can't just blame Luigi Mangione. Yeah, he's the one that pulled the trigger. But y'all's actions have helped lead to your own CEO's murder. UnitedHealthcare needs to take some accountability now. And that's my opinion on that. I don't think many of us have much love for insurance companies, but I have never been through a situation like I did with UnitedHealthcare, with any other insurer that I've ever been with. Thank God the insurance company I'm with now, I've not had a single problem. Not a single problem. Now, let's get on here and talk about drones. I want to give a special shout out to Dare LaSue on Twitter X, always showing support. I want to show you all and talk. There is still a lot of drone activity happening. All right, we got people speaking on it. We've got people doing shows, but there is a particular very interesting video that I want to show you guys of an orb that literally came up on a man or woman so close. And if you just hit Twitter X and just kind of read through, okay, we got, it's very possible there was a drone that was shot down for sure. There seems to be video evidence of that. There is these car-sized drones that it was hard to tell if it was the drone that sounded like a helicopter or if it was actually the Black Hawk helicopters that are flying around these things. But there's a lot of activity happening on the East Coast right now. Take a look at this video, everybody. Imagine you're standing on the sidewalk and a drone or an orb starts floating towards you, almost like it's interested in you. Now, this would definitely be classified a UFO for sure. UFO, UAP, USO, whatever you want to call it. These orbs, drones, I mean, there seems to be different types that are up in the air flying. They've been seen in Connecticut, New York, New Jersey. But imagine getting that close to one and just look at it. It's absolutely amazing. And I seen one instance where, someone was taking a photo or video, and there seems to be like an aura that surrounds these objects. I don't know if it's for protection, but it does kind of put me in the mind of what Bob Lazar talked about how these craft create like a gravitational ring around it, so to speak. And they have their own gravitation inside those ships, which is why they don't have to have a seatbelt on when they're in these ships. And look at all the different cars and trucks that have rode right by like it's nothing. Like nothing. This stuff is happening, daily. Now, what does all of this mean? Seriously, what does all of this mean with these drones? Is this a situation where we're being invaded? Or is this a situation where they are making themselves known to us? Let's turn the volume up.
This is crazy.
Look at
My
that.
God, look at it.
Look at it. That is amazing.
That's not a plane.
Sure isn't. And a
That
plane, we have
is
nothing,
wild.
nothing that could fly like that in our arsenal.
I can't.
Look at that.
That's going way too fast.
This is what people
That's
are
not-
seeing on the East Coast. It's like they
What's
are,
with my camera?
it's like they're surveilling us. Are we being surveilled?
I had to go
Again,
run in and get my camera.
I never thought it was a good idea that we sent signals out into space not knowing where the hell they were going. Who the hell have we potentially invited to our planet? Okay, that's the one thing that comes across my mind. But this is happening now several days in a row, folks. Okay. Now, there's also, I want y'all to hear this. It's not just New Jersey, New York, and Connecticut. Okay. It's happening over bases. Not only in the US, but in the United Kingdom as well.
The U.S. Air Force says unidentified drones have been spotted over 4 joint U.S. and U.K. military bases in England. The mysterious drones have repeatedly appeared for over a week now. Stephanie Bennett is live in London. So, Stephanie, this is pretty disturbing. What do we know about these drones?
Yeah, that's exactly right, Julie. I mean, the details are still very limited at this time. We do know that the sightings started last week on November 20th, and they have really ranged in size, in style, and also the amount that we've been seeing over that last week or so. Now, a senior British official confirmed to Fox that the UK has deployed about 60 troops, including counter-drone specialists, to help determine who is behind this and to help defend the air bases amid fears it's a potential coordinated operation. They're describing the incidents as unusual and say this is a serious set of circumstances. Take a look at this map. The bases are spread across England and are all used by U.S. Air Force. Now, the drones have been seen over RAF Fairford, Lakenheath, Mildenhall, and Feltwell. For now, civilian police, supported by the UK Ministry of Defence, have launched an investigation. And so far, we're told there has been no impact to residents or infrastructure, and they have not been identified as hostile. While a Ministry of Defense spokesperson said we take threats seriously and maintain robust measures at defense sites, but as of right now, it has not had any significant mission impact. At a Pentagon briefing, Fox's chief national security correspondent Jennifer Griffin asked whether the drones appear to be those of hobbyists or something more sinister and concerning.
Again, it would be, premature to draw any conclusions. We've got to see what these are. I mean, it's entirely possible that it could be hobbyists or something else. We just got to look into it. So.
Yeah, and for now, the U.S. Air Force says the investigation, of course, is still ongoing. And right now, all eyes are on the skies. Julie.
All right. Thank you very much.
Listen, man, this issue with UAPs and UFOs is completely out of the government's control. They have no control on any of this. And then I see stuff like this, and I see, these objects dropping things like it almost looks like hot plasma or something. It's like, what the heck are they dropping down onto the earth? Now, some may not believe there are beings inside of those orbs. But I've seen a couple crazy videos and photos where, and I could even show you some old historic carvings where, it's almost like the being sits in the very middle inside of this orb that surrounds it, this craft that looks like a circular orb of some type. I've seen photos where you could see like a face almost inside these orbs. Are they potentially dropping beings? I mean, there's so many questions here. So many questions, right? Now, this was another interesting one. It kind of looks like a plane, but it don't look like a passenger plane. But it definitely looks like some kind of plane of some kind, right? Now there's a obvious plane, but now, I mean, I also think, could it be other countries mounting some sort of surveillance campaign? against the United States. That, Now here was another interesting photo taken by a professional photographer with a 300 millimeter lens in New Jersey of these drones. And it is, look at this. It is circular shaped. Like almost a shiny type of metal. This was over Somerset, New Jersey. And to see so many of them, right? Look at this. That ain't a plane. I wouldn't even call that a drone, but there's several of them in the air. And it's just hovering there. And look, they meet and they become one. And okay, and then they take off. Like, what are they doing? That looks nothing like. And again, there's one down here. There's another bigger one sitting over here. Here's, as you can see right there. Now, let me tell you something very interesting that I heard, that some of these craft are organic in nature. And that, if you're really deep into this stuff like I am, you'll know that a lot of these alien beings, they don't give birth to children like we humans give birth to our children. These beings are cloned. They are, created in vats of liquid type thing. Anyway, one of the very interesting things that I've heard recently was how these beings, they grow these craft. Some of these, I'm not talking about these in particular, I'm just talking in general. These in particular ones made by a being known as an Andromedan. But they essentially put up a wire mesh of how they want the craft to look, and then they grow the craft using organic matter. Get out of there. They grow the craft. They grow the outside of the craft onto the wire mesh that they've built for it. And we're talking huge craft here. And the other interesting thing is that those that pilot these craft that are grown, their DNA is the same as the DNA in these craft. So essentially, they can control these craft because they are the same. Some of these craft can be split out up to 3 different craft and then literally come back together as one craft. If there's a certain exercise, there are things in science, folks, that we just don't understand, that we just don't get, okay? It's just a fact. This is Missouri last night. Is this a situation where they want us to know that they're here? Are they letting us know? Is it finally time? Because it looks like to me that the government has zero control over this topic anymore. it's happening so much. I don't think that our government has any control over this topic like they once held, But man, this has been going on for, like I said, about a week. It's hit every news agency. They look like plasma orbs. They're being seen all over the place. All right. This is in my favorite city of Dallas. I mean, there's 3 of them right there. All right. We got the Blackhawks out.
This is just circling over my house.
And that's not the first video I've seen with Blackhawks in it. Look, Good Morning America's even talking about it. This is a UAP landing in the middle of a road. Kind of see something moving right there at the top. See that? What in the world is that? And there is definitely something moving right there. That looks like it's saucer shaped. How awkward, how odd. And our government has no clue. No clue.
Mysterious drone sightings now in 12 New Jersey counties, and it's still unclear where they're coming from. Meanwhile, Governor Phil Murphy responded.
And here's the thing. If this was some hobbyist, okay, there's no reason for them not to say something. If it's somebody who's, has a hobby and has created, these objects or whatever, there'd be no reason for them to hide it. But again, this is happening over major cities, apparently to me, all over. This is Seattle. Okay. This is Seattle as of, what was this? 2 hours ago. I don't know if this happened last night, but that is another favorite city of mine. Seattle, Washington. So this appears to be happening all over the United States, Montana. But yeah, New Jersey gets a lot of the attention. Obviously, there's the population is crazy big there. So you all definitely keep your eyes on this story. Because this is really freaking people out. Okay. It's freaking people out. What is this? Oh, it's an older video. I mean, they've been reporting so many of them that they've even lost count. It's scary when it's unknown, isn't it? Anyways, folks, that's all I got. I'll be live later on today and we'll talk some more. I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day. Until next time, everyone.
The judgment sentence that you are an asshole. The trial is over. Thank you, everybody.
Let's play a game. You have 10 seconds to take all your stuff and get out of my life. 10, 9, 8.
God bless you, motherfucker.
You're really smart. Like really, really, really smart like I am.